on this Tuesday of Holy Week, we look at another bit from the book of Isaiah, which is another one of what we call the servant songs, which are songs that for Christians we believe speak of Jesus and what he would do and what he would be like. And it says, and this one's from Isaiah 49, and it says, "Before I was born, the Lord called me. From my mother's womb, he has spoken my name. He made my mouth like a sharpened sword. In the shadow of his hand, he hid me. He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in his quiver. He said to me, 'You're my servant, Israel, in whom I will display my splendour.' But I said, 'I've laboured in vain. I've spent my strength for nothing at all. Yet what is due me is in the Lord's hand, and my reward is with my God. And now the Lord says, He who formed me in the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob back to him and gather Israel to himself. For I am honoured in the eyes of the Lord, and the Lord has been my strength. He says, it is too small a thing for you to be my servant, to restore the tribes of Jacob and bring back those of Israel I've kept. I'll also make you a light for the Gentiles, that my salvation may reach to the ends of the earth." I don't know about you, but I'm praying for everyone in the world. I'm praying that God will save us to the ends of the earth. And in this crisis that we're in at the moment, that God's healing would stretch to the ends of the earth. It's not just about me and my little family, but this is for everyone. Everyone needs that hope, especially those who are living in the countries that don't have the kind of medical support that we've got. You know, it's so easy for us to moan and complain about what we're facing, but it's so much worse in so many different places. And so I'm praying for the ends of the earth, for those that are really struggling at the moment and are facing an even more traumatic time than we might be in this country. But I don't know if you've ever felt this recently. You know, it says, "I've laboured in vain, I've worked in vain, what's the point of it all? You know, I've spent my strength for nothing." And sometimes some of you are watching here, you might have lost your job, or you might have just not been able to do the things you do, or your income might have completely been decimated. And you're thinking, well, what is the point of this? Like, how am I going to survive? All my work, I can't do it now because I'm stuck here. What is the hope for me? You know, what is the future for me? How is God a part of this? And God kind of says to the person who says, "I've laboured in vain," he says, actually, there's something even greater for you. There's something even greater than what you've known now. There's a hope for your future that is stronger and more wonderful than you've known before. When you emerge from this, there will be more. There will be so much more for you. And for the servant, it's like, it's not just for Israel, it's for the whole earth. God will bring about something greater in all this. And as Christians, we don't believe that God brings about these things, but we do believe that God is at work within them, that God works for the good within all these things, and God will bring about change for the better as a result of lots of this, of lots of the trauma that happens in our lives, that God can bring good from it. And I don't know about you, but I've seen that in my life again and again. The toughest times of my life have been the times actually when God has helped me in the most deep ways and has taught me the deepest things as well. And in this time, I would encourage you to seek God in it, whether you're a Christian or not, to come to God and come to the Bible and get in touch with Christians that you know, and just say, where is God in this? And you can, the Bible is full of psalms and songs and stories of people who just go, this is terrible, where the heck has God gone? You know, and God invites us to do that. But you will find the meaning, you know, in Ecclesiastes and in the middle of the Old Testament. It's a whole thing that just says, life is meaningless, what's the point? I've laboured in vain, what's the point of it all? And at the end, he kind of says, actually, the meaning of this all is that we fear God and we do what he wants us to do. He obeys commands, and that is the meaning. That is what brings meaning to us, to know God and to follow what he is doing in this earth. And there's in the reading from John chapter 12, which is the reading for today in the New Testament. It's just after that story that we read yesterday, and a bunch of people who just hear Jesus' words and just don't believe in him. But the hope comes for those who do see it, because Jesus says, oh, you see all these signs that I've done, but you still don't believe. And for us, it's for those of us looking for meaning in all this, we need to look for the signs of hope, for the stories of beauty, for the stories of people who are doing the stuff that Jesus did when he was here, who are working with the sick people, who are looking after their neighbours. And we tell those stories and we remind ourselves of those stories. When people are clapping on Thursday nights, they're celebrating something that is good. They're celebrating signs of hope. And we need to be the people who look for the signs of hope. But most of all, we need to know that hope comes from God. That hope comes from God. It comes from Jesus and what Jesus is about to do in this story, which is die on the cross, so that death itself would be defeated forever. And that is ultimately where we will find true hope. And I pray for you today that you would know the hope of Jesus in whatever the difficulties you've got in your home at the moment, that Jesus would come to you and he would meet with you and he would give you hope.